You're such an asshole.
Hello, children. Good morning. We have a request that reminds me that not everybody has binged on the 5,000 videos here over at assholeconsulting.com, nor read all the books or anything like that. And there's new people being born, and they get old, they go to college, and they're like, whoa, hang on, I just got out of the military. Oh, this, I don't know the basics. And so it's good to revisit the basics for the benefit of people who just started investing or whatever else like that. So we're going to talk about precious metals. Let me pull it up here. A military man writes, and military people get a discount. Dude, I've been watching your content for a couple months now. See, he's a new guy. And yes, before you lose your shit, I've watched 2 of your videos that I can find on your channel about precious metals. No, I don't think it's an investment. I'm treating it purely as the shit hits the fan insurance policy. And best case scenario, my grandchildren might be able to sell it for some decent cash. That's the exactly it. And a little bit of a tidbit there if you got a little. You got to give it to the little kids when their hands are very small. You give them a big honking silver dollar. They don't know about the silver value. They don't know about the central banking or the Federal Reserve. All they know is they got something that's the size of a Frisbee in their hand, and it's shiny. So that's how you get them in. That's how you get them addicted to the crack. By the way, feel free to use my name and message in this video should you choose. I don't give a shit. I'm an asshole like yourself. Anyway, recent events had me think about buying 5 to 10 ounces of physical silver, the kind I need to get to fucking have in my callous Marine Corps hardened hands. I do have other metals, but they're meant for specific purpose if you catch my drift. Yeah, I do. Like 1,500 feet per second drift. What do you think about having physical silver? Is there a better physical precious metal to have on hand? And how much do you think would be enough to have? Fucking love your content. Semper Fi. Blake, you said we can mention it. So, all right. So let's go over a couple things. Your logic and philosophy is completely sound. And you know that it is an insurance policy. I would argue cryptocurrency is the same thing. People, you get the silver bugs or gold bugs or precious metal bugs, and they take on an irrational, almost religious-like aspect of it. And I wouldn't accuse Peter Schiff of this, but there's a lot of his followers in there like, yes, the gold. But no, you have the exact right mentality of it. And then when it comes to that, all right, now this precious metal must serve as a substitute currency in a post-apocalyptic world or hyperinflationary environment. What kind of inventory of precious metals should I have? And here where I don't hear a lot of people mentioning this because it isn't sexy, but it's practically free. It's not going to be that hard to get a position in precious metals that are going to be useful. Okay, so here let's talk about the different types of precious metals. There are precious metals like palladium, platinum, gold, some of the rare precious earth metals. That presumes that there's still manufacturing and like uses for them to go into cell phones and other high-end electronics. The other problem with platinum and gold is, but it's so valuable. It's like, yeah, man, so you got 1 gold ounce. And if the economy really does collapse and you have to have all the potential U.S. GDP being transacted through whatever the gold and metal supply is, or precious metal supply is, the gold, 1 gold coin, an ounce coin, it's not going to be divisible. Like you'd have a gold coin. It's like, well, I can buy a house. Maybe if you're in the market for a house, good. But I don't think in a post-apocalyptic world, Hovnanian is building a new development just outside of Dallas. And so, and another thing, the risk of gold is you can have a lot of your previous life's labor confiscated if it gets stolen. So I don't have any gold. I'm not against gold, but I don't think from an insurance standpoint it's entirely practical. So then if we go a little bit down in terms of like the value, then you get into silver, and this is where I think the majority of people's precious metals should be held. I always recommend, and this is just a rule of thumb, and more is better. It's like pizza. But I always recommend 200 ounces per person. Right. The easiest, quickest way to do that is to get U.S. Silver Eagles. Although I don't know about now with the Wall Street bets and all that, and the GameStop and the influencing of the market. But your general policy is that you should accrue about 200 ounces of silver, and you want to get U.S. Eagles, and I would just go with that in the United States. Maybe Canadian maples. Are there silver bullion out there? Are there called rounds? Yes, but who the heck knows in a post-apocalyptic world, is that really silver? And you got to do an acid test and all that. So buy the real stuff. There's knockout versions of it. China floods our economy with not so much fake silver eagles, but a lot of Morgan dollars. That's kind of weird and odd. But they're out there. There's counterfeit precious metals. But go to a trusted dealer. I recommend MN Gold Buyer, Minnesota, mngoldbuyer.com. He's my buddy. He's the guy who employed me as a security guard many years ago when I needed a job. So I always recommend him. He's got fair prices. Could you find cheaper prices? Maybe. But he'll mail them to you shipped and delivered. So you get your silver eagles. Even then, so that's 200 silver eagles. Okay. And that's not going to last you too long. And even if we get a real collapse, even a silver eagle might be too big a denominator, too valuable. All right. So what you want to do is you want to have increments. And so here's another thing you might want to consider. You might want to consider getting some junk silver. What is junk silver? Junk silver is all these coins that the United States made. I think it's 1964 and before, that have a certain percent silver content in them. I believe it's anywhere between 40 and 60%. And they sell it by the pound. It's not all silver in these coins. It might be zinc or whatever else they threw back in those days. But you could kind of tell, even if you take two modern nickels and you clink them together and have one pitch. You take two nickels from 1955, you clink them together, they got a different pitch because there's silver in there. So that's a quick way you can test it. But usually you go in, reputable coin dealer, buy yourself a bag or two of junk silver, and now you got something that's you got a mercury dime. All right, you're not doing it for collection value or because it's old. Wow, look, a dime from 1930. That's not it. It's like this has some silver in it. It's already minted into a divisible amount. There might be some, signage or something because of it's inevitably worn off, so it may not be a full mercury dime. But you could now start putting it by weight. Like, oh, that's 2 mercury dimes and a buffalo nickel. And then you're like, okay, here you go. So there you can start buying your foods or your breads, whereas a silver coin, it's like, hey, I'll take your daughter for a spin. Gold, I'll take all your daughters forever, except the fat one. Wait, that's right. Don't worry, our obesity problem will be solved in a post-apocalyptic world. They'll all be thin, just as Venezuelans. It's so funny when commies get what they vote for. Anyway, so that's even divisible now. And then finally, all you have to do is look at history. Why did we have copper coins? Like, oh, we just pennies. Oh, get rid of the pennies. Canada got rid of pennies. Well, hold on there, Slick Willie. That's copper. And copper, back in the day, even today, is a semi-precious. It's got some value to it, even more than aluminum, I believe. And so when you have copper, you say, all right, I want to get real copper. Any penny made before 1982 is, I think, 99% copper, maybe a little bit of zinc or something in there. But there you go. I mean, I'd be hoarding pre-1982 pennies, and some people already do. I don't know if you ever watched the show Pawn Stars, but the old man, until he passed away, he was a very cool guy. I was like, watching him, like, that guy knows value. He had buckets of pre-1982 pennies. And this is before anybody knew anything. We don't sell copper. We keep Dad. What are we doing with buckets full? He had 5-gallon buckets full of pre-1982 pennies. Well, he'll be the world's richest man because he can buy. I mean, what more simple increment can you get than a penny? If you go back into the olden days, oh, how many coppers? This would be the Brits, back in the day. Oh, that would be 5 coppers. 5 pieces of coppers for a pint of mead or whatever. And so a lot of people, they like for me, I like getting at a backyard foundry and melting scrap copper. And I have ingots of copper. And you can buy ingots of copper. But why would you waste all your time unless you enjoy doing it like I do? Why would you waste your time? Go grab your kid, say, hey, kid, here's a magnifying glass. See all these pennies? You go to the bank. You want to bore your kid to death? Get a bag of pennies. Here you go, kid. Take out all the pennies from 1982 or later and throw them in this pile, and every penny from 1981 and behind. You say, but Aaron, 82 has some 82s do, some 82s don't. It's not worth figuring out. 82 and later in one pile, 81 and before in another. All of a sudden, you got buckets of pennies. And then if the collapse were to ensue and hit, now you have 200 ounces of silver, 2 bags. I don't know how many pounds that would be. I should really do the math, how many pounds of junk silver you need, but a couple pounds of junk silver. And then ideally, yeah, at least a bucket, if you could get a 5-gallon bucket of pre-82 pennies, that'd be great. And I think that's the most that's the most thorough insurance policy you could have against an economic collapse. Now, I would also argue that if the whole world doesn't go to pot, that you have some cryptocurrency as well. Like you could exchange it. Like the internet is still working. Some currency markets are still functioning. You could have that. But like in a Mad Max scenario, yeah, it's going to help to have those pennies, unsexy and boring as it sounds. And so if you got kids, pretty worthless otherwise, put them to work. Hey, go collect the pennies. And then they'll tell the story. Oh, did your dad make you count the pre-82? My dad did that too. And then when they get to be our age, they say, oh, our dad was very wise. And then they'll pass on the ritual of forcing child slave labor to go and collect pre-82 pennies. And that's it. There you go. Wow, look, you guys are all here. Fred, go to bed. $2. Dave Ramsey poo-poos medals. Says gun stuff. He's a Marine. He already has enough lead. I'm not worried about him there. This presupposes you all have self-defense and iodine pills and water filtration and all that. But we're just talking precious metals. Holy cow. Time Traveler 39 cents. Thanks for the $50. Pax is a cryptocurrency backed by gold. Hold it on Nexo and collect interest. So Nexo is is that like a brokerage for cryptocurrency? I use Nexo and collect 10% on USD coin. Wow, good for you. Well, thanks for the $50, man. I appreciate it. I'm buying me some Pokeball. Pokeball for Cappy today. Giggity, giggity. Fred, for $2, will you buy my dog? Don't hit her and eat her if the shit hits the fan. No, I will not hit your dog or any dog. I will spank a dog. And I would not eat a dog unless it was really bad, because dogs are a value and an asset to have. We even have that hiking. When I go hiking, it's always good to have a dog because animals, like mountain lions in particular, are a lot less prone to attack you if there's 2 entities. So I've known a lot of gals will go hiking with their dogs to protect them from mountain lions. And guys, too. There's nothing wrong with having a dog. Fred Freeman Sowell, for $2, I emailed you top dating profiles yesterday. Yeah, I'll get to them. Don't flood me with them, Fred. Don't flood me, all right? You and Dre are like, here's 40 profiles. Like, okay, just pick the really good ones. Just pick the worst, most chaotic train wrecks. PA Grunt, Pennsylvania Grunt, $5. Caught Cappy live, buying some books I've been meaning to for Cappy's bail. Thanks, sir. Thank you, PA Grunt. I appreciate it. It is not a bailout. You are buying my books to help me in advance. That's all we're doing. We're just accelerating purchases that were already going to happen. That's it. All right, there you guys go. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. Also, I have linked to 2 books below, or maybe 3, that are financial planning books. One is Bachelor Pad Economics, and the other one, because this guy's new, and the other one is Poor Richard's Retirement. And for those of you interested in investing in precious metals, go ahead and read those books. It's not solely on precious metals, like a chapter maybe to that. But if you're interested in finance and getting a really good, solid foundation, both practically, like what the X action, A, B, C, and do X, do Y, invest in an IRA, major in the right thing, but then also a philosophical perspective, which is Poor Richard's Retirement. I'd say Poor Richard's Retirement is more important to read first than Bachelor Pad Economics. Either case, links are down below. Yeah, here, Fred Freeman saw, I ran into a moose while hiking in Utah. Never again. Yeah, moose are huge, huge. I ran into elk, and elk are huge, but moose are just, oh, holy crap, George. $100 Canadian. You got nothing to say? Usually if people spend that money, they want to insult me, and you get at least 10 digs on me. That's the going exchange rate, $10 per dig. George is a regular guy. I follow him on Twitter, I'm pretty sure. God almighty. Thanks, George. All right. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.